Hello everyone, this is Kuroda giving you a shoutcast and a game between ESC's Goody versus MTW's DIMAGA here on, oh my gosh, GSL Terminus Ray, I believe. It's been so many maps that I have to try to remember now, and I don't always remember to write it down at the very start of the game. Anyways, the DIMAGA spawning as the red Zerg over here at the 3 o'clock position. Meanwhile, we have Goody spawning as the purple Terran down over here at the 6 o'clock position. So this is going to be an interesting game, and we'll see how exactly these players will play on this particular map. And it looks like Goody is going to go ahead and set up a front door supply depot off over here and get this game underway. Now, Terran versus Zerg, one of those matchups where Zerg really needs to control and really drone up very, very quickly. Now, this is Terminus, and whenever I play on Terminus, I need to make sure what type of Terminus I'm playing on. Normal Vespian Geyser, not a rich. There are destructible rocks leading into it as well, so it can get destroyed very, very easily. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult for a Zerg player to try to defend the choke point. He'll perhaps have to defend here, as opposed to just trying to defend off here, and having a delay in creep may spell trouble. Now, DIMAGA has not yet gone for a spawning pool or an extractor, so I am assuming he's going to be opening up with a hatchery in just a few seconds. Meanwhile, back over here, Goody is going for that standard refinery opening at 13 gas, or yeah, 13 gas there, and we should also be getting up a marine, and you can tell by the positioning on Goody's barracks that he is trying to go for a Hellion harassment. He wants to be able to get that, get the reactor or tech lab down. I would normally bank that he is trying to go for a Hellion harassment right now, and we'll see how this works. Drone now just wandering around still. Looks like the drone will be able to escape and not run into any real issues there. Oh, the drone kind of getting stuck, and now there we go, going into a tech lab. So, excuse me, I was wrong. It looks like he's going to be going for a Reaper expansion instead, but the drone did spot this. So, the drone just wants to come back up the ramp and make sure that it is, in fact, there. There you go, a matchday.cc. And now this one SCV coming back in and now forcing that away, and now getting in a supply depot in order to get and try to build it off over here. I believe the SCV will end up taking some damage, and now the drone down to 9 hit points will be forced to pull away. Taking a look at the scouting positioning, the SCV did see that there was an early hatchery coming in. We are going into that Reaper expand, and we need to get a command center right off over here in order for this Reaper expansion to really have any true effect. You can see, however, a lot of minerals being banked by DIMAGA, so DIMAGA banking a lot of minerals. He does have the spawning pool, now training up a queen, needs to train up a second queen as well, and we'll see what exactly DIMAGA is going for. DIMAGA banking close to 600 minerals, and I would assume that's not normally what he tries to go for, so not quite sure about that, as DIMAGA now spots a bunker being placed down. 5 to 6 drones should be making their way over, but there is already a Reaper coming over. 1 shot, 2 shots, there it goes. Perhaps going to get some easy damage onto some drones and some Zerglings as well, as the Zerglings are now coming in, and now the Reaper trying to figure out what exactly it can go. Gonna go ahead and jump up onto the high ground, get some easy damage, and now push that away. It looks like the bunker is going to get destroyed, as another drone going to get taken down. The Reaper, taking a look at the total losses, 175 versus 125 in terms of total losses there. I didn't see if the bunker was cancelled or destroyed. Most likely just cancelled, as the Reaper normally cost, I believe, yeah, that's the total cost. The Reaper costing 100, the cancelled bunker costing 25, and then the SCV building the bunker was also another 50. You can now see a Zergling trying to run up the ramp and keep track of what exactly is going on. Goody does have his second command center nearing completion, but we already see DIMAGA going for his third hatchery. Now, this hatchery is not going to be full mineral saturation. There's only 5 mineral patches here, but it's still going to help him out in terms of larva production. He's going to be able to drone up very quickly, get into 200 food count, perhaps sometime around the 18-minute mark if he's not pressured. What Goody needs to do now is Goody needs to figure out a way to actually apply pressure and also break out from this containment here, as he knows that a lot of Zerglings are on the map. taking a look at the Zergling count, 11 Zerglings in play right now. Zerglings can easily take down Marines if they're caught in open field, but we are going into siege tanks with siege tech and also going for a Hellion as well. A little bit of a curious move there, as we are finally going to be landing this orbital command about the 7-minute mark. Zergling quickly destroyed. It looks like bunkers need to be established in a hurry, as we are now going into 3 base versus 3 base. DIMAGA does have a lot of queens in position, so with those additional queens should be able to easily saturate and just saturate all of the mineral patches, as he's able to train on average 30 drones a minute, a very, very large number. I'll round it down to 26 or 25, as you also need overlords as well. DIMAGA sitting at 53 over 70 right now, as DIMAGA now finally teching the tier 2, and he is really just playing a very defensive game, hoping to bank on the fact that he has a stronger economy right now. We are going into Banshees. It looks like that's what Goody's weapon of choice is going to be, the Banshees with cloak, in order to deal some damage. We are going into more drones. There is an overlord and a Zergling down over here as well. So if DIMAGA is able to spot the Banshees, perhaps an evolution chamber, the evolution chamber should already be down over here. Perhaps we will see a spore crawler or two. We are also getting those creep tumors out across the field. Very nice creep spread by DIMAGA so far, as we are now about 2/3 of the way to tier 2 at Layer Tech, and Layer Tech is going to just open up the possibilities, as Goody is just playing very defensively now, hoping to perhaps get up a very large army, but he's going to need a lot more production buildings than this, and now transitioning into double armories. Double armories, something that I rarely ever see, as the Banshee now flying in, gonna get in some damage there. One drone down, a second drone now down, perhaps gonna get one more drone kill. Yes, one more drone kill there, 150 minerals lost, as Goody now retreats with this Banshee and perhaps is going to get healed back up. We are now going into a Thor, going into weapon and armor upgrades, so this is going to be 1-1 upgrades on the Thor, and Thors are very, very dangerous, especially to a Zerg player who accidentally goes into Mutalisk. If he doesn't scout out the Thors and gets any large number of Mutalisks, it is going to spell very, very bad, or it's going to be a very bad day, as Thors can take down Mutalisks ever so quickly. 1-1 upgrades now coming in. We'll see what DIMAGA is doing, as he is now going into a macro hatch and right next to his second base, and also going for another evolution chamber, interestingly enough. And also we see an overseer wandering around, as I believe, yes, a changeling was taken down right there as it melts away here onto the space platform. Drone now looking to perhaps establish up a third base off over here, or perhaps even just try to establish up a third base here, but a barracks is already on the move, and Goody going for a very interesting mech play, as mech play is not something I normally see, but DIMAGA currently has a more than 20 food advantage at this point, and a 20 food advantage in just pure worker count. Goody will spot this hatchery here at the center location. We'll see whether or not it will receive any pressure, as another orbital command will be landing in just a moment here. It looks like a refinery was already up and operational, as the barracks now simply flies past. Overseer now keeping track of this Banshee. Banshee, however, does not have cloak, but Banshee doesn't really have to worry about the Overseer. The Overseer can, I believe the Overseer does not have the movement speed upgrade, and now in comes the Queen. The Queen gonna get in some easy damage onto the Banshee now. Both sides going toe to toe. It looks like that Queen is down to 76 hit points. Is the Queen gonna come out ahead? And it looks like the Queen will get taken down. That Banshee getting in a very easy kill there, and that is just absolutely bad news, as we are now going into 2-2 upgrades from Goody. So Goody with 2-2 upgrades, and this hatchery may just end up being cancelled. We'll see what's going to happen. No, a Queen now making its way over, able to get on creep. And oh, the Banshee down to 14-5, and there it goes. Shot out of the sky and by the Queen. Nicely done, as DIMAGA losing one Queen, but not all too much. Worker kill count, though, or overall worker count, was there a lot more workers killed? No. Somehow we see Goody just being able to catch up, now 64 compared to 73. Spoke too soon, 74. As we take a look as the roaches are now moving across the field, that is a lot of roaches. There is the armor upgrades, weapons upgrade now coming underway, as we are also going into Neural Parasite and also going into Aspire. Roaches just scampering around, moving very, very quickly, and should be able to find their targets and deal a lot of damage. Still a Marine back over here. Looks like it is going to be on patrol here, making sure that no expansions are taken any further by DIMAGA. DIMAGA sitting at 178 over 200, and it looks like he may be able to hit that 200 food count. And as soon as he hits that 200 food count, if he engages, he knows that he should have about a larger army, since Zerg is able to macro up much more quickly. And as long as he doesn't miss his injects, he will be able to replenish that army even more quickly, as he does have a slight harvester advantage, not even slight any further, 26 harvester advantage. There are infestors now in play. For some strange reason, it doesn't look like DIMAGA opted to go for the pathogen glands first, instead going for the neural parasite, and not quite having enough enough energy to get a fungal growth off. A Marine going to try to hide. It looks like it will be able to run and hide in the corner over here, finally lifting off, but it looks like it will just burn to a crisp, floating in the air. Goody now looking to establish the center location here, as we now see, a complete, it's so hard to see purple inside here. So we are going to have some drones now making their way in, and now there you go, drones getting torched right here. And now a lot of roaches are going to try to come back in. There's the fungal growth, finishing all of those off. But taking a look at the production tab, 11 drones now being added, a greater spire, and 14 spine crawlers. So that is the reason why DIMAGA is now a little bit more even in terms of minerals. And DIMAGA playing really smart in this matchup. He has the drone advantage, and he knows that he needs to free up food. Terran players do not have anything that deals damage besides a planetary fortress that requires food. So bunkers, 2 infestors now getting taken down there, as we now see a 12 spine crawlers off over here, and now blue flame hellions completely trying to torch this location here. Roaches need to be very careful, as the siege tanks are slowly pushing their way across the field. 180 versus 180. 81 drones, as we are now going into the Mobius reactor and perhaps some ghosts. So we should be getting a lot of ghosts, but we are going into broodlords now. So 6 broodlords now being added. This is going to be a slow push. Spine crawlers are now starting to peck and back once again, and more spine crawlers are getting destroyed. But this is buying time for those broodlords, which is very important, as the Hellions and Thors and siege tanks are now trying to push their way in. No fungal growth, no neural parasites whatsoever, as DIMAGA losing a lot in this engagement here, as the roaches are now trying to push back in. It looks like the siege tanks are going to be able to siege here in just a moment, and now in come the broodlords. Broodlords are going to cause a problem here as the siege tanks, and now a Thor turning on its foes. It looks like the roaches are going to turn around and destroy that Thor as well, as the broodlords are unable to catch up with those Thors. Those Thors are backing off, but are getting chased by those roaches. Siege tanks getting in a nice blast, and now both sides will regroup and recover. DIMAGA is sitting on close to 23, almost 3,000 resources now. It looks like those broodlords will be raining in more broodlings in just a moment. Ghosts, and there is one Viking in this group. And is it going to be enough, as those broodlords perhaps should be trying to engage as opposed to turning around? And now in come the broodlords. Broodlings now dropping all over the place. Massive snipe coming in as well. But there's not that much energy, not enough energy to really counter this just quite yet, as the Vikings, Thors, and now Corruptors coming in to engage. Ghosts are getting destroyed. Siege tanks are coming back around, as Corruptors and Roaches now trying to push in. There's one siege tank in siege mode. More siege tanks, and what a crazy battle here, as DIMAGA really on the losing end of this engagement. These siege tanks are upgraded 2-2, almost no sign for 3-3 yet. More Thors are being added, but a lot of SCVs need to come off the mineral line in order to repair. 86 drones versus 69. We have a couple of broodlord cocoons underway, more hatcheries coming in, but DIMAGA is very far behind now. 86 versus 69. His army is much smaller, and he is also behind by 50 food. So yeah, we'll see how all of this is gonna go down. We do have a lot of larvae being saved up between all of these bases, and he doesn't have all of his hatcheries. Surprisingly, he does not have all of his hatcheries queued up onto one location. So DIMAGA must have somewhere in the realm of 30 to 40 larvae ready to go. Roaches are now being added over here. Hellions just coming in and torching all of these drones, and DIMAGA is now in trouble. DIMAGA's superior economy is starting to unravel. 62-59 drones compared to the 73 SCVs, and down it goes finally. But this is not looking good, as Goody now just starting to add some more infantry units as well. He has a lot of factories, 5 factories, just cranking out siege tanks and Thors. Massive spine crawlers now once again going to reroute themselves. 12 spine crawlers here. It is going to draw a line in the sand once again, but is it going to be enough? Especially as we now have 9 broodlords in the air. It looks like the units are going to be trying to come around from the far side once again. Siege tanks will be able to shell apart, taking down a couple of these spine crawlers in just a matter of seconds. Drones now being transferred over, as Goody down or at 192 compared to DIMAGA's 157. In income tab shows a much different story. Goody more than doubling his opponent in minerals, but DIMAGA getting more than 50% more gas, as drones are now being transferred off over here as well. Both sides have a rather large army that can absolutely destroy the other, and it's really going to come down to who can execute an attack and surprise the other opponent more. There are also a lot of queens here, so the queens could perhaps go for some transfusions, as the roaches now going to run straight in and see a very large number of siege tanks. Broodlords are now coming in. There's the snipe, and sniping down a lot of those broodlords there. Down they go. Transfusions are not really hitting their target. Corruptors are stacking a little bit too much together, and the splash damage from those stores far too much, as the broodlord now finally backs off. It looks like a Thor trying to go toe-to-toe with a spine crawler, and it does get taken down. But now in comes a very large just death ball, a siege tank Thor ghost death ball coming in from Goody, and Goody can almost just attack move with this army in order to get the win. One poor SCV taking a little bit too much damage. Down it goes, as Ghost are now attempting to fight back the swarm as well. It looks like there are a lot of drones still over here. Hellion's gonna finish off this hatchery over here, and now Goody with more than double his army, double his opponent's food count, or nearly double. We'll see what's going to happen. DIMAGA doesn't have the necessary upgrades to really battle with this 2-2 army, this 3-2 army now, soon to be 3-3. Ghost also in this group, very far range, a lot of snipe damage to be had, 10 Ghost, and now you see command centers being built all across the map by Goody, as Goody now looks to divide this map east versus west here on Terminus Ray. 13 broodlords in the air, infestors on the ground. Right now DIMAGA is in a bit of trouble. The problem with Zerg at tier 3 is, although they have a lot of units that are very powerful, they are all biological, and broodlords only have 225 hit points. So at 225 hit points, it doesn't take very many snipes in order to get destroyed. 5 snipes plus a marine shot, I believe, does it. Changelings quickly getting destroyed in the center of the field. And the Thors don't even have the 250mm strike cannon. And it looks like Goody is going to definitely miss the Thor as soon as we go into Heart of the Swarm, as the Thor is being removed into that 1 unit only type. And that is going to change things up dramatically, as you can now see these Thors ever so powerful, dealing 78 damage per round of attack, able to destroy infestors, and then also dealing a lot of damage to these broodlords. DIMAGA needs to figure out what he's going to be doing, as a siege tank, Ghost, and Hellions finishing off the extractor, and now we see DIMAGA losing so many of his bases. Taking a look at this over here, we see a lot of larvae just lying in wait, ready to grow up into something, but there's just not enough resources any longer, as we still have some long-distance mining coming in. More broodlords once again being added, as we are now up to, I believe, 3-3 on those siege tanks. getting in now 4 additional starports. So with 4 additional starports, it's going to be very easy to train up enough Vikings in order to deal with this Broodlord threat. Broodlords are upgraded 1-1, and now the Broodlords, 18 of them making their way across the field. And you can see how quickly that damage was dealt. 4 damage on those needle claws though, so not very high. And without the claw upgrades, those broodlings are only going to be dealing 1 damage per attack. Broodlords now need to engage. There's the snipe, and there you go. And Infestor is now coming in, getting off some fungal growth. Spine crawlers are going to be rooting off over here. DIMAGA trying to win this war with everything, including stationary defense. That's not quite so stationary. DIMAGA now needs to continue this push over here, and now it looks as though those broodlings are going to be able to deal a bit of damage, taking down some of those siege tanks, and now also poking apart at those stores. But as I mentioned, those stores with 4 armor are able to just eat, are just not falling to those broodlords and those broodlings. Broodlords now splash damaging, or taking some splash damage from those stores, and with 9 Thors in play, it looks like Goody is going to take this game. A valiant effort by DIMAGA, but DIMAGA unable to win, and there is the GG. So Goody able to macro up and go heavy mech against Zerg here on Terminus Ray. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.